everybody. I'm Christopher Green, and you're tuning into AMTV, Alternative Media Television. The nation, the United States of America, here at home, and largely Canada, was shaken by the Ottawa attack yesterday. A soldier was killed, and a lone gunman, a familiar and often told story of a Muslim extremist who had recently converted, we just learned, to Islam, who decided to go on a killing spree to support the movement, the newly created group ISIS that didn't even exist in the public consciousness up until about a few months ago. The people didn't even know existed 6 months ago, but now is the primary reason that the Obama administration and largely coalition forces are at war. And again, I tweeted this on my Twitter. It isn't a coincidence that just a short while after Canada joined coalition forces, the bombing raids, the campaign, the illegal war in multiple countries, Iraq and Syria, that the event happens now. And of course, this is served up on a silver platter to do one thing. And in my honest to God opinion, this is in the eyes of the Prime Minister of Canada and the President of the United States, not Bush, but Barack Obama, the liberal leftist hope and changer guy. This is the best thing that could have happened to them and to their respective countries in their eyes. Because it gives them an even greater, wider tool, not only to increase the surveillance state, as the Prime Minister of Canada was explaining to us on camera yesterday and today, calling the act terrorism and linking it to radical Islamists and, of course, ISIS, the same people that we are newly at war with. Same thing here at home with the President of the United States. You know, we had fence jumper number 2, which I honestly think is a fake. I'm just calling it a bluff. I just have a bad feeling about it. I think it's bullshit. I think it was a publicity stunt by the White House to show that they have security, even though they don't. I think that the first fence jumper was a real event. He was a real terrorist. He jumped the fence, a dog didn't grab him, nobody came, he went into the White House, the president could have been there, and he could have done something ungodly and horrific to the president. But the second fence jumper, honestly, I really believe that to be a publicity stunt. But again, this link to radical Islamic terrorists, the new Boogeyman, is that what they want you to believe. The new Al-Qaeda, even though the President of the United States, Barack Obama, supposedly snuffed out Osama bin Laden. You know, Durka Durka, the terrorist, Team America, F yeah. Supposedly he was snuffed out, so they needed a new Boogeyman, which is why they created ISIS. You know, if you ask the average American, or the average Canadian for that matter, they won't be able to answer the question, why is America at war with these countries, Iraq and Syria? Why? Some might say, well, it's because of these beheadings. Yeah, these fake beheadings that somehow conveniently coalesced public opinion that was once against war, overtly, aggressively against war, wanted a withdrawal of troops, which was the promise of the President Barack Hussein Obama, who's really insane in the membrane. Now it uses that as justification and a smokescreen for war. You know, people honestly believe the mainstream media. They think just because they see it on CNN, it's true. Let me give you a perfect example. CNN reported that flight MH370, it disappeared and crashed in the ocean. Remember, it was just a sad event, a sad turn of events. All the people died, they crashed into the ocean, it was kind of unexplainable. And then they were going to go uncover the wreckage. So I have a question for you. Where is it? Where's the plane? Do we have a single shred of evidence or piece of wreckage to show that that plane crashed into the ocean? And the answer is no. Of course not. In fact, the independent investigations done by the Australian Commission and another third party confirmed and showed through their investigation the actual evidence that there was no evidence that the plane crashed, that there was actually evidence that the plane was hijacked. As we reported here on AMTV, but we were called conspiracy theorists, but really it's just truth after the independent investigators actually figured this shit out. You know, just like Michael Brown, I just did a video on this, called a conspiracy nut, a conspiracy theorist, that I would actually defend our system, our freedom, the constitutional republic that you're innocent until proven guilty, and would even ask solid, critical questions about the officer who was being demonized by the mainstream media, namely CNN, that he could and may be in fact innocent. You know, what's his side of the story? Well, the autopsy report came out yesterday and confirmed that Michael Brown didn't have his hands up, that he was antagonizing and reaching for the gun of the police officer, largely giving reason
for the cop to use lethal force in self-defense. But again, you don't hear this from the mainstream media. They don't talk about Flight MH370 or MH17 for that matter when it doesn't fit their narrative. When the actual evidence comes out and proves our point, proves the quote-unquote conspiracy theorists correct. Again, folks, none of this is conspiracy theory, it's just critical thinking. People ask me all the time, Christopher, how did you predict the wars in Iraq and Syria? And honestly, the answer to that question is, they're really not predictions. I'm just reading between the lines. I did this 5 years ago. I read between the lines of the bullshit mainstream media, what the president is yapping out of his big, fat, fake, hope and change, racist mouth, and I connect the dots. And I figure it out. And then I broadcast it on the world and say, hey, dipshits, yeah, you the masses, the 99%ers out there, you know, rioting in Ferguson right now when there's not a shred of evidence to support that Darren Wilson, the cop, was in the wrong. It actually points in the other direction of Michael Brown, who had robbed a liquor store, a criminal felony act, just moments before the altercation. And people think that's crazy. They look at that and they initially don't understand it. Again, this Ottawa attack, this Canadian terrorist attack, the best thing that could have happened to America, the President of the United States, the Canadian Prime Minister, in their eyes. Again, I'm not condoning terrorism. I'm not condoning radical Islamists. I'm not condoning ISIS. I'm not condoning Al-Qaeda. I'm not condoning heinous acts committed against civilians. But you know what I'm also not condoning? Heinous acts, warmongering, and invasions of independent sovereign nations, like the president is currently bombing, and so is Canada, joining coalition forces. Do you know that over 1 million people, by some estimates, have died, civilians, in Iraq alone since the war was launched in that part of the world? Since George W. Bush was part of it, you know, a September 11th conspiracy Patriot Act charge, and now the goody two-shoes, liberal leftist freak that makes up the President of the United States, this lying freaking scumbag who continues to take away our freedom. Again, and now this Ottawa attack, just another piece to the puzzle to increase the surveillance state, folks. To make it far worse for you and me, so that you have no freedom. Let me give you an example. They're going to look at this event and say, you know what, these people are radicalized on the internet. Yeah, they're radicalized on the internet, so you know, we're going to take that whole freedom of speech thing away. We're just going to get rid of that. We're going to trash the Constitution, wipe Big Obama's ass with it, blow his nose in it, piss all over it, and bleed all over it, and just get rid of it. Because these terrorists are being radicalized online. Just like the Chechen Boston bombers that they conveniently shot the one kid, I believe it was Joe Carr, right in the throat, so he couldn't speak, so he couldn't talk. Really just a dry run and a test run for a police state and martial law in a major American city. This is all real, folks. It's hard-hitting and in your face. I've been discussing this for over 5 years. And this Ottawa attack, just the latest, greatest example of tyranny being implemented on the American people, the people of Canada, and the people, the good, loving, honest-to-God people of the world. Get it out everywhere. This is the truth. I'm Christopher Green, hard-hitting it in your face, and click the link below to support our sponsor.